have such a bad memory because if you bring me to UK experience, I have like a few seconds of memory.
Yeah, that's why I was confused why you want to do this podcast about remembering stuff when you don't remember anything.
Maybe it's about you helping me remember what happened. Okay.
All right, what happened before we went to the UK? Do you remember? Where did we go? What happened with us?
I guess.
Step 1, we were in China. We had got married. We were planning to go to the UK.
Yeah.
What did we do?
Yeah, I applied the university and turns out the UK one falls on my lap. I mean, the other ones, I remember I paid 90 USD for a university
like
without
Texas
any
or some shit.
Any reply. There's nothing come out of it.
Yeah,
they just straight scam me.
Didn't even tell you no. They just never heard back from them at all.
So we only have these options to get out, to go somewhere new. So
okay, because you wanted to get another master's degree because you thought the one you had wasn't strong enough.
It's shitty. It's shit, okay? Cannot find any good job.
I mean, you got a fine arts degree. That's what happens when you get an art degree. That's just usually what happens.
Well, if the art degree, I actually learned something. And the one thing I learned is don't be an artist. Anyway, that's off the topic. So
it's never off topic.
I found the passion to be a linguistic, and that's another bullshit. Okay, I just from one bullshit to another bullshit.
Short-lived passion in linguistics.
Because I feel like so many rich Chinese folks live overseas. Maybe they really need someone, with the two language to teach their kids. That's my original idea. Actually, it's not a bad idea. A lot of people are trying to do that now. I've seen tons of advice.
What you studied wasn't exactly that. What you studied was bilingualism. Okay.
Yeah, to understand the people who speak two languages. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's actually scientific plus educational.
It was very scientific. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, I was there.
I read lots of essays and proofread a lot of stuff, man. I basically got myself a degree in bilingualism too.
Well, not really. I spent 4 months sitting in front of the desk to write those shit. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, it's one of my best moments. Oh, I really like where the wells, located next to ocean. I don't want to be specific, The whole city is just dedicated for university students.
Well, now they all know where it is because there's only so many of those.
Because it's so nice. Everything's so beautiful. And the first time I saw those seagulls, I think they're cute. And, I want to pet them, but turns out they're giant assholes.
Oh, yeah.
I have never experienced this aggressive creature, okay? They grab your food. They just being really...
we've seen seagulls eating other seagulls. They don't care.
They're so bad, and I'm scared of those creatures. Remember there is a terrace, the big terrace spot. You can you can see the ocean view, and it's full of seagulls. And the ironic thing is they built the kitchen in that spot. So there are tons of food and tons of seagull. If you sit on the bench, they come to you and grab your food. It's really bad. Anyway. But I still enjoyed that calm vibe.
But besides the seagulls, everything else was okay. But the city itself was kind of dying, and it still is. Like, I see news reports about it because I still follow the local newspaper on Facebook. Their whole, high street has just died since we've left. Everything's moving outside of the town.
I can see
other roads and stuff.
I can see in the future rich people is going to move there. 'Cause the environment is so beautiful. If you have money,
mainly they own the places around it, so they live in the other towns where it's less busy and better views and stuff. So.
The universities there, they would never die.
The university itself would have to die for that city to die.
Yeah,
and that's just probably not going to happen.
But it's so beautiful. More like culturally appropriate. I think so. You just feel like you're living in Harry Potter when you're walking in the university because everything is old castle style, So it's nice.
It also helps that house we rented is the first time you've ever lived in a house, not an apartment.
It's
And we had a backyard, and
yeah, and a big kitchen.
We didn't have a front yard because that's where the parking was. But if they didn't put that parking there, we would have had a front yard too.
Yeah, and it's cheap.
Yeah,
It's like,
compared to what we're paying everywhere else.
It's more. Ever since we moved out of China, the rent is more and more expensive.
I think what we ended up paying in the middle of the UK was actually less, but we got way less for it, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it was like
When we were living between Manchester and Liverpool, the place we stayed in, I think it was like £100 less per month.
Yeah.
But we were getting so much less than what we got at the other place. I mean, the other place was an entire house. It was a 3-bedroom house with the upstairs and a downstairs.
Yeah, but we have to flag that sneaky landlord. They trying to save the time to to do the
reconstruction.
Yeah,
because they wanted to remodel and they wanted to sell the house.
Yeah.
So they asked could they do it while we stayed there.
Yeah.
And we only agreed because normally they don't even rent the entire house out to one person. They rent each room out to a student to make even more money. But instead they rented the entire place to us. Yeah. So we let them remodel the kitchen. We let them redo the carpet in the entire house.
And what happened to us? What happened?
And we let them repaint the rooms, and then my wedding ring got stolen during the point they're repainting the rooms. Like, we know who did it. I'm not going to say it on this podcast, but we know who had to have done it because the entire thing was gone. Not just the ring, the case, all of it was gone. Yeah. And that person was the only person to go into that room ever. Yeah. And that's when he repainted that room. And he was related to the landlord. Yeah. So that's fun.
Mad. I was so mad.
Yeah, so my wedding ring was stolen.
Mm-hmm. So stupid.
But it's one of those, like, we thought we lost it situations, and it wasn't until later on when we finally dawned on us, wait a second, we don't even have the case anymore. Mm. So it's not that we lost it. Somebody straight up had to have taken it because it just didn't make any sense.
Yeah, no matter where you go, like, they're always people. They seem nice, but they rip you off in some ways. This is how I feel in all this traveling.
Yeah, like, overall our landlord was fine, but it turns out her relative was not so great.
You never know, man. You never know. Maybe she knows. She just covered it up.
Maybe, who knows?
I mean, no.
But she wasn't there when it happened, He was just there by himself painting the freaking house. So. Yeah. No. And then one time that the ceiling had leaked, they fixed it, like, immediately. And then they also had bought the new vacuum cleaner. They bought a brand new, like, $200 vacuum cleaner and put it in the house for us to use. Yeah. Yeah. After they redid the carpets, which makes sense because, they just fixed all the carpets. They want to, keep them clean.
That's true. I don't know.
It was a nice house, though, overall. It was a decent experience there.
Yeah. And my mom ended up living there for 2 weeks. And
yeah,
she
for
really
just
loved
2
it.
weeks, yeah.
She loved it so much, and she always talked about it. And she said in the future, you want to move in somewhere like that. The neighborhood is so quiet, and you can just enjoy the views.
And we were like a 10-minute walk from a Chinese store too, so your mom really liked that. It was a 10-minute walk to an Asian supermarket. Yeah.
It's way perfect than here.
The only downfall is the hills. Wales has so many hills, and we lived at the top of the hill.
Well, it's good for you, exercise.
I guess. I don't know. I don't think I lost any weight at that point. I was just tired more. We ate so much red meat. Oh my goodness.
Because it's so cheap.
I remember
10 pounds, and we bought like bags of beef. It's crazy.
Yeah, beef and lamb and stuff. Because we've been in China so long, and beef and lamb and stuff is really expensive there comparatively. Yeah. So, like, when we moved there, this local butcher shop was selling tenner packs? They called it a tenner pack of steaks and stuff. It wasn't the most highest of quality of beef, but it was still way better than anything you can get in China for even close to that amount of money. Yeah. So we were wilding out. We were like, oh yeah, buddy, here's 10 pounds. Here's another 10 pounds. We'll take the beef and the lamb.
Yeah, I remember it. It was
like
so
it came with steaks and a big old roast. I cooked like 3 roasts in that oven. It was great.
Yeah, the oven. Even me can cook.
Mm-hmm.
It's not great cooking, but...
yeah, we had that big oven, the gas oven. That was the first time I ever used a gas oven, though. I never used a gas oven before.
And my mom almost leaked that gas.
Yeah,
She cleaned it.
she almost killed us, but it's fine. She didn't realize that like turning it turns the gas on. She just didn't ignite it, so she had filled the entire kitchen with gas. Luckily, none of us like lit anything on fire and realized it. Yeah. Otherwise, we would have had one of those movie situations. And it was an older oven too, so it definitely didn't have like the safety thing on it. It was 100% leaking gas. We could smell it. That's why we opened all the windows and stuff. That's why we realized it, because we smelled the gas. Yeah. She was just trying to be nice and cleaned it, and then almost blew us all up. So that's fun. I remember one time I left the oven on myself one time. Boy, I thought we were going to get a big old charge. Yeah. I cooked something and I thought I turned it off and I just didn't turn it far enough. And the oven was on for like an entire day. Like an entire day. The oven was on very, very low heat. And I was like, oh God, our gas bill is going to be huge. It ended up not being too bad, but still, I did run the oven for an entire day in that house one time just because I cooked something that night. And then the next day when I went in there for lunch, that's when I finally realized the oven was still on because we had not gone back into the kitchen. Oh, I don't know. That place was nice, though. I mean, we had good views of the mountains and stuff, so that was cool. When it snowed, the mountains looked really nice, but at the same time, you couldn't really go anywhere because of the snow because, well, you're on top of a hill.
Cold, okay. Yeah. Cold and wet. Every
That's the downfall of Wales. It looks nice, but the weather is temperamental. It rained every single day.
Remember the wind is so strong. And
oh, yeah. We tried to use umbrellas like an idiot, and then we realized you cannot use an umbrella in this town.
Like,
it's just going to break.
£6 for two long, big umbrella. I was like, why? And then, it's like a one-time disposable.
Yeah, pretty much.
You open
Everybody in that town knew that if you buy an umbrella, it's going to break.
Yeah.
And we realized later that the only time you see people using an umbrella was on the high street. And that's just because it's the least windy part. If you go anywhere else, the wind is so strong, it's going to destroy your umbrella. Yeah. We broke at least 3 before we just gave up on umbrellas and just bought the correct clothes to walk outside in.
Trousers, too.
Yeah, bought the correct waterproof clothing to walk outside in on the rainy days.
Yeah, that's so true.
Oh, do you remember we used to live near Morrison's? That was pretty good. We go to Morrison's Deli. The deli, yeah, we get the meat, the food there. Yeah.
Oh my God, and cheesecake.
Yeah, there's many times where we'd go grocery shopping, and then after we grocery shop, you're like, I want cheesecake. So we'd sit down and eat cheesecake.
Yeah, they have a combo, right? Like
they had different combos and stuff. Depends on the time of day.
Good time, and it's affordable living.
It was pretty decently priced for what you got. Like a large fish and chips was enough for 2 people, to be honest, and it was only like £8, which is like $10. Yeah. It's not too bad to feed 2 people.
Yeah, it's not very British. Though.
Yeah,
it's something I
like. And their large was really large, so.
For the British food. Yeah. I actually like only those foods.
Like roast beef, fish and chips, kebab, which isn't even technically British. Yeah. Although we didn't eat too many kebabs when we lived in Wales. That was more of when we moved, we started eating kebabs because there was a lot of kebab places near our house. We'd eat Chinese and pizza sometimes. We didn't even eat pizza that often.
Yeah.
We'd eat Chinese and I'm trying to think when we got delivery. It was mainly Chinese, I want to say, because it was right down the road and we just didn't want to walk and get it.
Did you try Indian food?
Well, yeah, not the takeaway, though. We only ordered the takeaway like once, I think, for Indian. The rest of the time we ate at the restaurant.
No matter where you go, always Chinese. Okay.
Yeah, Chinese food is, there's always at least something good on a Chinese menu. I don't know. British food is very hit or miss, though. Like actual British food. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of like sausages and mashed potatoes and stuff. But their Sunday roasts are great. Go to Morrison's, get you a Sunday roast, which is a really weird thing to say. Go to a grocery store and get a Sunday roast, but it was pretty freaking good. Like all things considered. I mean, we went to one at a pub one time and we couldn't figure out how it worked. And it was just so busy that we were like, all right, we're just going to leave. still remember that. We walked in, stood there for a little while, and it was so busy and nobody said anything to us. And we didn't know how it worked at all. We didn't know if we should sit down, we should order, like we should go up to the counter, talk to them. The people there just totally ignored us. And it was so packed. There was only a few places to even sit. So we were like, all right, screw it. We'll just go to the other place. I think we ended up going to instead. We ended up Weatherspoons, the other pub. Because it was like the two pubs are right there near each other. So we went to the one pub that had the Sunday roast, and we were like, let's get a Sunday roast. And we just did not know how it worked because we hadn't been in the country that long. We just knew what a Sunday roast was. And we ended up giving up and going to Weatherspoons because you could just order on your phone.
I have no memory of that part.
Yeah,
I don't remember any of that.
Well, the first time we went to Weatherspoons, we didn't know how it worked either. And then the lady told us, you got to go up there and order.
That's part of, the difficulty, isn't it? Especially when we moved to Italy. The communication issue just...
Well, at least in the UK, communication wasn't that big of an issue. It was just things were done differently than what we were used to.
Oh, yeah.
Like in China, the waitress comes up and takes your order.
Yeah.
In America, the waitress comes up and takes your order.
For sure.
In Italy, the waitress comes up and takes your order for the most part, unless you go to like a cafe or a bar.
Yeah.
But in the UK, like a lot of the places, you got to go up to the counter or order on the app. They're not going to come take your order.
Oh, and Chinese restaurant always have 2 menus.
Yep, they got that secret menu.
Yeah. I don't think here is the same thing. I just I just remember they're more experienced. We have to speak Chinese to the Chinese owner.
Yeah.
So we get a Chinese menu. It's so weird.
Yeah, in the UK, if we walk in, even with being with you, they would still hand us like the white people menu.
Because you are the target. The people don't see me when I walk in.
I do remember we went to that one restaurant that was in like a nice looking building at the bottom of the hill. It's an older restaurant. And they gave us the menu, and then like you asked, did they have another menu in Chinese? And she was like, oh yeah. And then she brought us a menu that was fully only Chinese stuff. And it was totally different. It had like Magpie Koro. It had some Yang Rou stuff on it. We didn't even order anything off the other menu after they gave us that menu.
This is good. It's the best.
Yeah, it was actually
Chinese,
really, really good. It was legit. I still have pictures of that shit.
I missed that part. Oh.
Yeah, it turned out to be legit, even though when we walked in, they gave us the sweet and sour chicken menu. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah. So quite often there's 2 separate menus, and if you're with foreigners, they're not even going to give you that menu.
Like here.
But here, they always just give you both. They don't care. Like, they give the foreigners that menu that's in Chinese, too. Like think about Tin House. Tin House always gives both menus.
Yeah.
They give you the white people menu, and they give you the Chinese menu.
But that's in the center.
Yeah, it is in the tourist area.
Yeah, if in the community place, they just cater in Italian. It just totally changed the way.
I will say, if you just go to some place like near where we live now, there's not going to be a Chinese menu. There's just the menu, and you get what you get. Like, you get what you get. Like, which usually means don't order mapo tofu, because mapo tofu is just
sour.
It's just ketchup, bro. Like twice, it's just been like meat with ketchup. It's awful. And we started with the UK, and now we're talking about Chinese food, so that's fun.
Because every time, man, it's your habit. Every time you what you care, it's always food.
I was just talking about what we ordered when we were in Wales. We would order.
There's so much we can talk about, but I feel like there's no way we're gonna end.
I mean, we just need to finish this up. We'll wrap it up. So basically, we were in Wales 5 years ago now, 6 years ago.
Oh my God, 2018.
7 years ago. So 7 years ago, we were in Wales. We had moved there. We did some stuff. Yeah. We didn't know how shit worked in the UK, which we slowly figured it out. Now, when I go back to the UK, I have no problems anywhere I go because I know how stuff works. But when we first got there, culture shock, I guess, is the only thing you can really say, which I wasn't really shocked at it. I just didn't know how it worked. And I was like, oh, okay, so that's how you do it here. It's very different from America. It was very different from China. The service industry is very, very different. And the schools are different as well. I mean, we eventually found out like a D over there is like a 40 or some shit. Like the grading system is super weird.
Yeah.
I don't know how anybody fails university in the UK. You can get such a low score and still pass.
That's why we say it's a water kind of degree. If you,
I guess.
you know, a lot of people, but they said it's saving your time though.
I don't know. I know a lot of people
years.
that were resitting exams and shit, so maybe they just hard to get those higher grades. I don't know. Anyway, so that's Wales. Maybe we'll talk more about Wales next time. Maybe we'll move on to when we moved into the inner UK. Let us know what you want to hear in the comments below.